good people. You are watching and listening to Worthyish with Maria Bush. I am your host, Maria Bush. You know, this show, we go behind the curtains with everyday heroes who have took their journey to success, and some way around their life, they teetered their own self-worth. And so we're going to talk a lot about how they were able to break through that feeling of not feeling enough, their worthiness. And so stay tuned. We have special guests for each episode, so you won't be disappointed. So I've actually been in the pharmacy industry for about 14 years now as a pharmacy technician. For a while, that was pretty much my passion, you know, and then about 2020 is when I definitely had the strong desire to get into modeling. So that's when, you know, I pretty much started that journey, and, you know, it's been awesome so far. And, you know, always, you know, born and raised Kansas City, go Chiefs. But I would have to say, as far as my, you know, self-worth being tested, I would say that would probably happen around my mid-20s. In my previous relationship, you know, basically, I didn't know what I was doing. You know, I didn't even know my self-worth was being tested at that time. You know, going into it, I thought I knew how to, you know, handle stressful situations and, you know, just how to handle myself as a person. But on the inside, it was just completely different. So, yeah.
Yeah. And that is so true when we talk about trauma, relationship trauma, how much it does impact our self-worth and how much it triggers even things from our childhood. How did you navigate that? What did you feel like you did during that time period when you were coming out of that relationship?
Well, basically what I had to do was just get closer to God, basically. You know, actually build my relationship with Him. And because He, you know, was reaching out to me, but I wasn't necessarily going out to Him, you know. The lifestyle that I was leading, I was in a very dark, low place. It actually took me to be in my 30s to come out of that. You know, once I had ended my previous relationship, there was still a lot of darkness and depression that I had on the inside that I wasn't showing anybody, that I had to, you know, to get through. So about 5 years ago, I finally just stepped out on faith. You know, I had gotten to such a low place. I had no choice but to look up. You know, I had to look up. I just broke down and said, Lord, I can't do this on my own anymore. Yeah. You know, the hardest thing is to relinquish control. We want to be in control of our lives so much, and we realize we really don't. We don't have control like we think we do. So basically, just the first step was just trying to hear God, trying to listen to Him, to find out what do I need to do, what, you know, and He said surrender. So I surrendered my life, got into my Word, and the rest is history. So
powerful.
Yeah.
Come on, sis.
I mean, hey.
Come on.
Hey, when He says He will give you a peace that surpasses all understanding, that's exactly what He's going to do.
Wow. So let's pick back up. Let's stop right there and talk about that, because I think a lot of times, us as Black women, we try to take on, or we have taken on, this strong Black woman syndrome, where we wear this cape and we wear this guard to say that we're invincible, that we can do all things, that we can take on all things. And so a lot of times we're suffering in silence. Can you talk a little bit about that low place because I think that some viewers or listeners will be able to just be encouraged that maybe they're not alone, that you've been through that, and to see where you are now. So do you mind talking a little bit about that?
Yeah, so basically I had, for a long time, I had struggled with my weight, how I carry, I carried myself in a manner to where, everybody could look at me on the outside and be like, oh, she got it together. She's, and I can just go out and put a smile on my face and, how you doing? How I'm good, just kind of going through life, going through each day, like, okay. But when I would get home, it was just a different story. Because even with my health, I had suffered. I had a fibroid tumor, which I know that unfortunately a lot of Black women suffer with that as well. I was in extreme pain all the time, exhausted, and that's what really caused at that point, as far as depression to just really, come out. There were days where it took hours for me to get out of bed, and so dealing with that, I'm not gonna lie, I struggled for a while to come out of that. In 2019, I finally had surgery, so that, but what also unfortunately kind of brought me to that point as well was heartbreak. I had, unfortunately dealt with another severe heartbreak, and that was, I guess you could say, the breaking point, and I just, for the longest, was like, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I thought, I was like, okay, I thought I was doing all the right things, but it was just always that void that was not being filled, that I thought I could fill with people or going out or alcohol, whatever the case may be. Yeah. And it just, it wasn't working at all. So, like I said, I just completely broke down to the point where, like I said, I had no choice but to look up. Yeah. And so as I started that, I had to just, look at myself, look within and say, Eileen, you are worthy. For one, you are God's daughter. You are worthy. You are enough. You are beautiful.
Ooh, come on, sis.
So yeah.
Come on.
And it takes a while. It does take a while.
Yeah, being real. It takes time.
It does. It takes a while, because sometimes we start and we think, okay, I'm all right. I'm okay now, after a couple of days, and then you just go, it's a lot of ups and downs. A lot. I had to go through a lot of ups and downs before it was like, okay, living out. And I'm still learning, I'm still learning, so yeah.
I think about where you were saying that for one, what you've been through, and to see you on this side of it, how resilient you are. Mm-hmm. And I think about how healing happens in layers, and I know it's happened in my life in layers, but to see it happen just one time, you get through one stage of healing, and then you're like, okay, and then you got to go through another one, and then when you get tested or triggered, you're like, oh crap, I didn't know I was still dealing with that. And you feel like, oh man, I'm not fixed, I'm not healed. But no, it happens in layers. Yeah. And so I wonder, like, now that you're in this profession, how has that played into what you do when it comes to your healing, and really in trying to tell a story even with what you're doing? How does that all play into your healing? How does your healing play into what you currently do?
Well, when I decided to get into modeling, I was still pretty much had low confidence, you know, especially with my weight and everything. But I said, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to, you know, this is something I had really been wanting to do since I was a teenager, you know. But unfortunately, because of, you know, they weren't really looking at plus size women at that time. And I was actually much smaller.
Yeah.
I was 135 pounds,
yeah,
but
I remember, yes.
that's still considered, you know, plus size, at least at that time, you know. And then I wasn't tall enough either. But, you know, I was starting to think like, do I really want to do this? I don't know. You know, I was still kind of looking at myself like I don't. And as I kept going, when I was with my modeling coach, Pam Newton, she instilled so much in me. And you know, it's just bringing my confidence up more and more as I surrounded myself with other models as well. You know, everybody is just lifting each other up. Girl, look at you. You look good. Okay, I like what you got on. Oh, look at, you know, this and that. And so it was like the more and more I was getting poured into from the outside, it was like, okay, you know, I got this, and my confidence has just really went up. You know, sometimes I put on clothes and I'm like, oh my God, I'm changing 2 to 3 times because I'm self-conscious. You know, oh, what if, you know, my stomach is out too much, or this and that, you know. And now, you know, for the most part, you know, what I put on is it, and I'm like, I look good, and I'm gonna step out.
Come on. And it's gonna be what it be. I'm comfortable.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely.
Exactly.
Wow. And you know, you saying that is that, you know, the importance of community is so important. Having the right people, and I call it life-giving relationships, because these relationships are giving you life. They're not taking away life. And so I really think that is truly important, especially when we're talking about our young girls and the way that they're looking at themselves and comparing themselves to social media and all these influences in media, versus really concentrating on those life-giving relationships around them. Can you speak to that a little bit? You mind?
So, I've been with Pamela Newton Model Academy for about 3 years now. That's how I got started. And, you know, with that, like I said, she definitely helped a lot, I would say, with building everyone up, you know, with their confidence and everything. I mean, you know, she's like, yep, straight, walk this way, you know, this and that, you know. And, you know, just instilling that in me and everything. And then I try to pour into the other models as well as much as I can. You know, we all, like I said, build each other up some kind of way. Everybody looks like, oh, you know, you look at, and even the designers, you know, they're like, oh my God, you look so good in that. And, you know, so I just try to really, you know, set an example for, you know, everyone else around me, and just, you know, just express kindness, you know, love, let them know, hey, you got this, no matter what. You know. So I think, you know, with that, and then also I am a team member now with Pamela Newton Modeling Academy.
Congratulations!
Yes.
Nice.
So mainly she's been having young girls. Okay, so looking at them, it's like, oh, it just kind of, it's like, oh, you know, it really does bring me joy to watch them, because when they first come in, especially the first session, they're kind of like, they're kind of withdrawn,
timid,
you know, and they're nervous, and she's telling them how to walk, and they're kind of like, you know, they're not sure what to do, and you know, after a few minutes, then I'm kind of on the sidelines as well, like, okay, look at you. I was like, oh, there you go. I love it. Yes, do that. You know, that's good. That's good. And then next thing you know, by the end of the session, they're
perked up.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
Yes.
so then they're in front of the mirror, they're like, oh, okay, I can do this, I can do that. I love it.
Oh, wow.
I love it, yeah.
Powerful.
It's awesome.
How many of us just need to be seen, feel seen and heard, and how that unlocks those gifts inside of us, that unlocks that confidence and increases our worth, our self-worth and how we view ourselves. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Think about on those lines, us as a Black community internalize racism and how, these messages of I'm ugly because of my skin color, my hair texture, and we internalize that and we become feeling like worthlessness and self-hatred. How do you feel we can kind of really challenge those messages in order to provide safe environments like Miss Newton's, where our girls and our boys feel seen and feel heard and can support their self-worth? How do you feel we can do
I
that?
would say we just need to really speak out more about, the issue at hand and, what is going on. It definitely needs to be more, I would say more adults, especially like around our age, younger, that has, really been through some things or, been through those situations to really just speak up and speak out more and just pour into everybody that we come across, But I would, me personally, where I stand, I would say first and foremost, keep God first.
Yeah.
Keep God first in everything.
Yeah.
You cannot lose with that. You cannot lose. And it is challenging.
Right.
It is. Unfortunately, there's no way around it because we're human and humans have free will.
Yep.
Okay? So, but, I would say first and foremost is just surrender all to Him and say, Lord, you know what? I can't do this on my own. I need you. I surrender. From there, just keep telling yourself, I am worth it. I am worthy. I am enough. I am beautiful. Even men, even young boys can tell themselves, I am beautiful.
Absolutely.
I am worthy.
Absolutely.
And because I feel like it, with our young men, our young Black men, like what they have to face each and every day and what they go through in men, what they internalize, their, what they have to suffer with because of what they've been taught, with their emotions. It saddens me. It really does. Like, it really, gets to me. But like I said, we just have to keep pouring in it to each other. And it's, it's hard, like I said, because of what we've been taught, how we grew up.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's something that we just have to step out on faith and just do.
Yeah, that's good. I'm agreeing. My faith is it's very important to me. I think faith in God is important because once you feel like you've run out of strength and you've run out of hope, there's something greater than you that you can lean on and pull from. But when you just think that you're the only end all to everything, you're going to feel like life is hopeless because we do get to those low points. But knowing that there is something greater than you out that you're leaning on, it does give you hope to keep going. Absolutely.
And that's the main thing. Keep going. Keep going. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what you see, what you hear from the outside. Keep going. I've had to tell myself that so many times. Don't give up. Don't give up. Keep going. Keep going. Because believe me when I say I have wanted to give up 1,000 times and 1,000 times again.
Let's talk about that. So when we talk about self-worth, a lot of part of that is self-talk. What we tell ourselves, the conversations we have with ourselves. And if it's not positive, our behaviors and our emotions are going to reflect that. So how was your self-talk during those times? I know it's a challenge. We all have sometimes negative thoughts. But how did you press through that negative self-talk?
There were times I just had to just stand in the mirror and cry.
Let's talk.
Yeah.
Come on, speak on it. Speak on it.
I would just stand in the mirror and just cry. Sometimes that's what I just had to do. And then I just started talking to myself. I talked to myself a lot.
Yes.
And there's I didn't even want to do it. I didn't even want to do it. But the Holy Spirit pushed me, said, you gotta do this.
Yeah.
And so I would just look at myself in the mirror. Eileen, you got this. God got you. I would have to quote scripture. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. God said he will supply all of my needs according to his riches and glory.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Yeah.
Hard. And like I said, I'm still learning, you know. There's some things that I'm still learning and dealing with, but, you know, at this point, I can hold my head high and say, no matter what,
Yeah.
I can face this, you know. So there were even times where I'm like, okay, I just got to get into my word. Sometimes I have to sit down, Lord, where do you want me to go? And then I can just open up scripture and it would just speak to the very thing that I'm going through. And then I just talk out loud about whatever it is that's going on at that time. And then at that point, then I'm like, okay, then there's a peace over me. You know, so I just had to get into the habit of that every day, because we don't always want to pray. We don't always want to speak positive. Sometimes we have a bad day and we just, you know, like, you know what, it's a bad day and I don't want to deal with nobody. I don't care.
Come on.
You know, it's, you know, it's whatever. But I've kind of had to really push myself and force myself, like, I mean, you're going to look good today.
Yeah.
Put this on. Because that's another thing. When you look good, you feel good.
Listen.
If you just put on the right outfit, some earrings, as you can see, I'm a hoop girl.
Yes, girl, you wearing them, girl. Listen.
If I put on my hoops, you know, then I'm like, okay, you know, I got this, yeah. So,
yeah. No, that's good. You know, I you know, as you're talking, I think about depression is real. Depression is real, and I think people say, you know, when you're down and low and depressed and sad, it's hard to get out the bed and just say, get up. No, folks that deal with depression specifically, it's hard for them to get out of the bed. It's hard for them to do the simple things, brushing their teeth, washing their face. And so you do, like you said, you have to tell yourself that this is what I'm going to do. Even if it's a small, minute step, it's being able to say, I accomplished this. Maybe I can wash my hair tomorrow, but today I was able to brush my teeth.
Yes.
And so I think that's important. And something else you said about emotions, how our emotions are very valid. How we feel is very valid, but sometimes it's not always facts. Just because I feel like a failure doesn't mean I am a failure. And emotions come and go. And because you feel like a failure today doesn't mean you're going to feel like that tomorrow.
Exactly.
And so it's acting on what you know. So like you said, Eileen, you put this on, you're going to feel good. That's facts.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. And I know for a lot of people, they probably feel like, oh, well, it's, you know, it's easier said than done. You know.
It is. I mean, come on.
Yeah. And I get that. I do. I get that. I've been there. You know what I mean? I've been there. So I completely understand.
Yeah.
You know. But like I said, you just have to have that will.
Yeah.
At some point to just do it. You know, it's like, okay, I'm gonna get up. A few more minutes. Okay. Okay. A few more minutes. You know, you have that, like, Do I really want to do this today? Do I, but it's like, get up. It's like that spirit within you. It's like, just do it. Just do it. And then once you get started, then you're like, okay. You have this sense like, okay, I can do this. Okay, I got it. And like you said, just one little thing. Even if you just take a shower. Even if you just take a shower and then just, okay, I'm just gonna sit here in my thoughts for a minute or whatever. At least do that. At least something was accomplished. So, oh yeah.
So Eileen, what's next for Eileen Bradshaw?
Oh, what's next? I am going to be a successful model traveling the world.
Come on, sis.
I'm going to be speaking life into everybody I come across. This is not, definitely not the end for me. I hope that I get to encounter more young people as time goes on, especially with me assisting in the academy. That way I can just, they have somebody to just pour into them and tell them, like, keep going, you got this, you're beautiful, you got it, So, oh yeah, I'm gonna keep going.
It's good. It's powerful. We need you. We need what all things Eileen has to give. We need you.
Yeah,
absolutely. Whether it's in modeling, if it's just walking down the street.
Yeah,
we need all things about you. So I so much appreciate you being here and being vulnerable and telling your story. It's so purpose in it, because you never know who's watching or who's listening.
Right.
That needs to hear what you've been through and how you've been able to come through it and still going through it, but to know you're still standing and working it. How can folks get in contact with you if they want to talk further with you or see what you're doing or keep up with what you're doing?
Well, I am on Facebook as Eileen Bradshaw. Okay, so I'm mainly on that, all the time, of course, because with my modeling and everything, I have to, that's kind of, I guess you could say, how I do business, per se. So, yeah, just reach out to me. I do have Facebook Messenger. So, anybody can just reach out to me at any time. If you want to contact me that way, that's where I'll be.
Awesome. Good. Any last words for the folks who are watching or listening?
Like I said earlier, keep God first, if nothing else. Keep him first. Even if you don't believe, just believe and get to know him anyway. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Like I said, no matter what it looks like, keep going. Do not give up. Trouble don't last always.
Come on.
It's temporary. Like I said, storm don't last. Trouble does not last always. So you got this. Remember that.
Oh, awesome. Wise words, good people. This has been another episode of Worthyish with Maria Bush. I'm your host, Maria Bush. Until next time, stop trying to earn what you were born with, and that is worth.